Saints Row and Bully, both open world titles, both full of content. Yes, they are different in many ways, but this has not stopped us from making a video on it, and I say us because today I got Nathan to help me make out this video.
I'm the TheNathanNS, so hello and welcome to today's video, and we hope you enjoy.
For the Saints Row part we had a lot of gangs, some were even cut from the game, but what made into the titles added a lot of variety to the game. We had the classic gangsta type from Saints Row 1, from the West Side Rollers to the Vice Kings and the Carnales. After that we jumped in Saints Row 2 with the Brotherhood, the Sons of Thunder, which were basically drug dealers, and the Ronin, which were somehow bikers. We also had Altered and the gangs from Saints Row 3. Also, they appear on the map and you can take them out, you can take the territory, their strongholds, but sadly after that they disappear. Oh, and let's not forget about Saints Row 4 and the inclusion of aliens. Yeah, you can see how the tables have turned for the Saints Row with the inclusion of aliens, but hey, Zinnek was a great villain. Overall, a lot of variety and strong factions, just like in Bully. But Bully did not have aliens, or does it?
Take this!
The non-playable characters in Bully were absolutely exceptional for the time. In previous Rockstar games, all NPCs did was just walk in a set path, drive in a set path, and not do much else. They were mindless pigeons at best. But Bully's NPCs are so much different. They're still mindless pigeons, but they're mindless pigeons with character and charm. Every single character at the school has a name, first and a last name. Even the townsfolk have names, even though none of these have any actual role in the story. They all have varying quotes as well, which do give them all kinds of personalities. Anyway, the various cliques around Bullworth do have a fair amount of turf around the map, and each area of the map perfectly reflects a stereotype of the clique that inhabits it. The Preppies, for example, are stereotyped as being upper class, posh and snobby. They inhabit Old Bullworth Vale and Harrington House. Now both of these areas are incredibly clean and fancy looking, compared to say the Dropouts who inhabit Blue Skies, which is an incredibly run-down, dirty, crime-infested area. Like in Bully, if you enter New Coventry or Blue Skies, you will see townsfolk getting harassed by greasers, you'll see police being called, fights breaking out, and all the stuff that makes the rougher areas feel much more dangerous to be around. Another example is like the Nerds. They don't have any specific place in town, instead they just rely on hanging out at the comic book store and the observatory, which is perfectly fitting into the nerdy stereotype of being antisocial and into comics. However, I do wish more was done with the jocks, because they can only be found in one place in the game, and that is the sports area. Okay, granted, you can see some of them at the carnival, but you know what I mean, they don't have their own dedicated area outside of the football field. Every other clique except them can be found in other areas. Upon Bully's launch on the PC in 2008, it was met with some incredibly negative reviews, because if your PC had more than 2GB of RAM, which, let's be realistic, any PC gamer in 2008 did, then Bully would have a really bad memory leak, where the world would just load in and then unload all the time. Also, the game would just go into endless loading upon meeting Dr. Crabblesnitch. You know, the first thing you do like 2 minutes into a new game. Now, while this was fixed with the only patch for the game that was ever released, Bully also had a major issue arise in 2015 following the release of Microsoft Windows 10, where the game would just crash at completely random points, with or without mods, after 30 seconds or 30 minutes, which of course turned a lot of people away from playing Bully on the PC. And Rockstar have never ever bothered fixing this, and this problem still exists to this very day. But much like Saints Row 2's Gentlemen of the Row, there is a mod which actually fixes this issue, called Silent Patch. Now while that is a good thing, it's still terrible that Rockstar have never bothered fixing this issue that's been around for half a decade.
Now the Saints Row 2 PC port is even a problem for the high-end PCs, believe it or not. The reason why I can't record so much Saints Row footage at this point is because of that. Yeah, it has the Gentleman of the Row mod installed that fixes some issues, but after changing my PC, the game keeps crashing so hard that I have to rebuild my PC every time I play Saints Row 2. Not only that, but the frames are not even 50. I do hope that the much awaited Season 2 patch will come sooner, cause at this state it's unplayable. Other than that, a big F in the chat for the Season 2 PC port. Compared to Bully, that was a bad PC port. I mean, in Bully you just stuck at 30 FPS, simply download an executable file and then you can play it at 60, no problem whatsoever. So Volition, please fix this Project Red mistake and make Season 2 playable again on the PC. When it comes to weapons, the Senzo series is the real deal, from melee to big guns. The first two games keep it classic with katanas, AKs, desert eagles, Uzis, and in Senzo 2 you can pick objects from the street and hit people with them. That's crazy and cool. But when Senzo the 3rd got released, that was changed a lot. We had so many crazy weapons ranging from a gun that can make a shark appear from the underground to eat you to literally a dildo bat. But with great weapons comes bad changes. You can now upgrade your weapon, if you can call it an upgrade, but you remain stuck with that upgrade. No, you can't undo that, sorry fuckers. Not only that, but some upgrades will literally change the gun's look, and you can't undo that. Season 4 changed that a bit by letting you select how your gun will look like, and they introduced the Dubster gun, a masterpiece. So yeah, the bullet weapons are okay, but honestly, they can't touch the Senzo style. Crazy and over the top that it is.
Now of course Bully does have weapons, but they're handled much differently compared to most other games. For example, in nearly every game I've played, weapons are usually handled in one or two ways. Either the player has a weapon wheel of sorts, where they can use a lot of weapons, which is more common in other sandbox games like Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row, Red Dead and all that, where you can use a pistol, then you can swap it to like an RPG or a rifle or whatever you like really. There's no restrictions on what you can really pick up unless they're sort of like in the same class. Or the player is restricted to like 2 or 3 weapons, and you can only pick up and replace weapons. Now Bully handles this weirdly, like you still do have the weapon wheel which has Jimmy's slingshot, firecrackers, itching powder, marbles and all that, which is like traditional in the sandbox game. But at the same time, all the melee weapons cannot be stored in Jimmy's inventory, but can only be picked up or stolen from other people. A bit like in FPS games after you kill someone. And as said, these melee weapons can't be stored either, so if you pick up a bat and then swap it to a slingshot, Jimmy just drops the bat. It's a slightly weird design choice in my opinion, though writing this script up and thinking about it, it makes more sense when I realise that the weapons in Jimmy's inventory are basically the projectile weapons he can use. Most of them aren't even actual weapons anyway, like we do have the marbles which just trip people up, we have the itching powder which just like makes people scratch themselves, leaving them defenceless, stink bombs obviously just sort of like stop people in their tracks, you get the idea on that. The clothing options we get in Bully are a very wide variety too. We can have a nice upper class suit, you can make Jimmy look like a punk, we have sporty styles, smart styles, funny and pretty much everything in between. We can make Jimmy into however we see him, be it after what your style is in real life, or how you think someone like Jimmy would dress. Of course the only exceptions to this are like if Jimmy's in a, say the mascot suit or an elf suit, where if you change the boots on it, then of course the outfit will get completely removed. Now characters will also react to what Jimmy's wearing, like if Jimmy's wearing a stupid outfit, people will point and laugh at you. But if Jimmy's wearing clothes from Aquaberry, there's a chance the preppies will notice and compliment Jimmy on his clothing style, unlike the greasers who will just make jokes about it, and vice versa. Now this attention to detail is pretty great and makes the world of Bulworth feel more alive. We can even customise Jimmy's sexuality, which is something we still haven't been able to do in any Rockstar game before or after. In the story, Jimmy is straight, with him going with near enough every single girl in school. But in free mode, the player has complete control over Jimmy's sexuality and the ability to romance boys as well. Now the only downside to Bully's character customization is no matter what haircut you give Jimmy, he'll always revert back to a buzz cut if you make him wear a hat. But in Bully, even if you give Jimmy a healthy head of pure black hair, he'll go back to a ginger buzz cut. Even if you make him bald, his hair will just suddenly come back. Now another thing I thought was handled just a little bit poorly was the tattoo parlour. Like, tattoos in this game can just never be removed. Also, tattoos will still show if Jimmy wears a rolled up sleeve, so Rockstar can somehow fix this with tattoos but not hairstyles. Feels just a little bit rushed there.
Jimmy has like what? Some barber shops, some clothing stores and some tattoos that you can remove? Now, looking at Season 1, a game from 2006, just like Bully, it has huge features that you can change. Clothing that is very varied and has multiple layers, and all that evolves times. Saints Row 2 perfected the clothing styles, added more hairstyler, accessories, tattoos, and even added a walking style that you can choose, taunts and compliments, a voice that you can pick, and is not over yet. Saints Row 3 and 4 added the option to change your PP size. Talk about quality in a game, that is quality. Saints Row is all about character customization. The Saints Row series is full of activities. Activities are optional but are encouraged because they are the easiest way to earn respect, which is required to continue the storyline. As well as respect, they also unlock cash and unlockables. The majority of activities in the Saints Row series have one instance for each of the 3 gangs, with 8 levels at each location. My favorites includes the Fight Club, Fuzz, Mayhem, Insurance Fraud, and Escort, with a tiger. Saints Row the 3rd, goddamn you're mad. So as you can see, the activities are varied and include moments of joy for everyone who does them.
Like pretty much every open world game out there, Bully isn't scarce when it comes to activities for the player to do. Scattered all across town, we can get up to all kinds of things, like racing with bikes and go-karts, we can box at the local gym, get up to some gambling, and some more boring things such as doing math and English. We also do have the carnival, which is basically a minigame hub area and nothing else. Now most of these activities are also how Bully handles its upgrade system and offers rewards through some of these activities. For example, completing gym class will increase your accuracy with weapons like the slingshot, boxing will give you more strength, and classes will give you upgrades that are relevant to the class you took. For example, English makes you more well spoken so you can deal with authority and so on. Now most of Bully's activities have various levels of difficulty, starting at the easiest and then gradually go up over time. But the one thing that Bully does lack here is replayability in these activities, because you just cannot replay the earlier and more easy levels again. If you really want to replay these, you've got no choice but to really restart the game. You're pretty much stuck with whatever level you're at, which in the case of the classes and the bike races is most likely going to be the last most difficult one. Now Bully doesn't have a traditional relationship system, instead it relies on Jimmy just going up to a girl he wants and kissing her. Well, first of all Jimmy needs to impress her, usually by doing a specific mission for her. Like to kiss Lola for example, he needs to impress her by beating Johnny Vincent at a bike race. He manages to impress Mandy by helping her cover up her nude posters, and he just takes Pinky on a date after Darby Harrington is a no-show. After impressing the girl, Jimmy can kiss her whenever he wants, he just needs flowers to do so, unless of course you've beaten R Class 5. Now when you've kissed a girl, Jimmy gets his health refilled plus some bonus health, something akin to like armour I guess, and this is varied depending on your art class level. Like beating art class 1 means you only get a 25% bonus, and after beating art class 4 you basically get double health. Now you can't just do this to any girl you want, because some girls in the game are like 10 years old and that's pretty fucking noncy behaviour. But one way Bully stands unique here is that Jimmy can also kiss boys too, if you really want to. There's no real requirement to do so unless you want to get every single achievement on the Xbox version. But unlike girls, all Jimmy has to do is have 100% respect with a certain clique. Then Jimmy can go and kiss a certain boy from every group. Doing this keeps that character's respect at 100% for Jimmy. Even when everybody hates him in Chapter 5, the gay guy Jimmy kissed will always love him. Also, unlike girls, Jimmy will need flowers to kiss a boy, even if you've passed Art Class 5.
Jimmy has the option to take girls back to their girls' dorm, kiss them, and add a collection of panties in his room? Whack! Now here in Saints Row 2, I'm having sex with a prostitute while learning different sex positions. Oh, was that? You can make up with Johnny Gat in Saints Row 4? You can make up with Shaundi and a robot? Well, yeah. Saints Row takes its spot when it comes to girlfriends. Who wouldn't want to make out with Johnny Gat after all? No homo. When it comes to vehicles, Saints Row is full of them. You can indeed ride cars, motorcycles, pimp the shit out of them, but in Saints Row 4 your character can fly. Wow, how do they do that? And that's something what makes Saints Row 4's vehicle useless. Sadly, you can't ride a skateboard or bicycle like in Bully, but Jimmy can't fly, so Saints Row wins again.
Now Buddy has more of an emphasis on foot travel compared to cars, but Buddy does have its fair share of vehicles a player can use to get around the map, these being bikes, skateboards, mopeds and a go-kart. Now the go-kart isn't unlockable, while bikes and mopeds can either be bought or stolen or unlocked through shop class. And the player gets a skateboard after beating Defend Buggy in Chapter 1. Now bikes and Buddy come in a surprisingly wide range and have their own stats and handling. Like for example, the racer bike is definitely the fastest bike in the game, but it handles a bit like crap, especially in Chapter 3, while the bike you unlock through Shop 4 is the best bike in the game for high air. Now one major criticism I do have with the bikes is you don't really see all of them in free mode. Like pretty much all the bikes you unlock through Shop aren't ever seen in free mode. You might very rarely come across the bike from Shop 4, but you'll never see the bikes from like Shop 3 and 5 in free mode, being driven by like preps or greasers etc. Not driven, you know what I mean. Now what makes them a bit useless is, once you've beaten the respective shop class, that's it, you can never really see the bikes again. Now the skateboard you get after beating Defend Buggy is quite weird because it doesn't really do anything other than give you a bit of extra speed. Like you can't do any tricks, you can't ever bail. Now the go-kart is probably the last vehicle in the game the player will unlock, and it's a secret unlockable obtained by beating every single kart race in the game. It's an insanely quick vehicle that handles really well, and you don't really unlock it too early, so you can't really make missions any more easier than you normally would. It's probably the best reward Buddy has to offer.
And this has been our video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to subscribe to Nathan and check out his videos. He's a great bully channel, I really love his content. I'm grateful that I managed to do a collaboration with him in this video. And yeah, in case you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe in order to join the fam, and I'll see you at my other videos. As always, have a good one, fams.
But miss the clutch, these Romanian trees for the system's touch. Whoa, liquor is finest, your highness, German, Brazilian, your highness. Wait, I'm here to slay the demons that harness, tarnus. Join us, the time is upon us. Fuck the game, just hold my PS. I do it for my soul, so with the BS. Me and rap, don't show us liaison. The whole game is off, use me as on.